All right. Welcome back to the Listen Up YouTube channel. My name is Jordan, and tonight we had the Dolphins versus the Bengals on Thursday Night Football. And it was fun to watch. Both these teams played well. It wasn't like one team played a lot better than the other, but I think it's safe to say that I think one team finished better than the other. So I think without further ado, we'll get right on into this. Let's talk about the Bengals. One of the things I said was the Bengals are finally clicking on offense. Now, we watched last game, the Bengals versus the Jets, where they finally got their first win of the season. And that was like the first game I could say, hey, Burrow's finally kind of getting it together, right? It's looking like the old Bengals we saw last season where they went 10-7. They made the Super Bowl. They look a lot better. They look like, they're just more consistent. Speaking of consistent, T. Higgins had a great game, over 100 yards, scored a touchdown on that, nice pass from Burrow. It was like a straight arrow. That was a nice pass and broke that tackle. And it was a perfect ball. Like I said, the Bengals look exciting again. They look like they're finally coming back into form. It's like, I think maybe they just had the early season adjustments. I don't know what it was, but they look really good. They look consistent. And even like the defense is playing a lot better. I know he picked off Tua, or the team picked off Tua. And I'm pretty sure the team also picked off Teddy Bridgewater. So the team got 2 picks tonight. And it's like both sides of the football is playing a lot better. So, you look at the Bengals and you go, wow, now they're 2-2. You got 2 wins, you got 2 losses. It's an okay start. It's not the most ideal, but it's not the worst, right? So the question is, where do the Bengals go from here, right? Now you're finally off to the start that you want to be at, or where you wanted to be at first, and you're here now. You got stuff together. So where do you go from here? Well, I think it's better to work on the progression of Joe Burrow, getting him back to where he was last season. I think the last 2 games are very encouraging to see. He's had 5 picks, 0 interceptions, has thrown for over 250 yards, each of the last 2 games. So he's looked really good the past 2 games. And he came in tonight and played an undefeated Dolphins team and played very well. He played very well. And so I think you got to focus on the progression of Joe while also incorporating all the receivers. Now, tonight I had seen that Jamar Chase was getting double-teamed a lot. And that's why T. Higgins probably had such a big game. It's because he was left alone in single coverage on an island. And T. Higgins will win the one-on-one matchups. He is a really, really, really good receiver. So, I think for the Bengals, it was about finishing off the game tonight. They looked way better at the end, and I think that's really why they won. So, yeah, that's my analysis of the Bengals. Now, going to the Dolphins, the one thing I can really say is Tyreek Hill had a really good game, and that's typical Tyreek Hill, right? That's typical Tyreek Hill. He's so fast. He gets open, and it just seems like, and it's happened a few times where Tyreek Hill could not be stopped, and they had to put hands on him, and when they did that, it was pass interference, flag after flag. Tyreek Hill does that, right? He's really, really, really hard to stop, and I just felt like the Dolphins couldn't finish their drive. The Dolphins couldn't finish a drive. They get down to 1st and goal, 2nd and goal, and they just couldn't get a touchdown. It was always 3 points. And unfortunately, in the NFL, unless you're the Broncos this year, you can't finish games with just field goals. You got to score a touchdown. And I say all this to finally go to the Tua injury that, obviously affected a lot of things. We saw last Sunday he had gotten concussed, right? And I know there's an NFLPA investigation on it, and they're still under investigation. And then tonight, right, as the Dolphins were struggling with their start, Tua got injured again, right? He got slammed. It was like he was running around, he's in the pocket, and just from behind he gets slammed down, and you could just see the whole thing. And he was even on the ground, and he had elicited a fencing response, which is like when you're knocked out, not knocked out necessarily, but when you have a concussion, you usually elicit a fencing response to protect yourself. It's a natural response, naturally human response. And Tua, I could tell right then and there, Tua was done for the night. It was over. And quite honestly, the Dolphins should be fined for it, whether that's draft picks or money. I cannot believe he was out there tonight, to be completely honest with you. He shouldn't have been out there at all. He shouldn't have seen the field at all. And I'm so disappointed with the Dolphins organization for letting him out there tonight, 4 days after what clearly was a concussion, right? Because I remember the first concussion he had on Sunday. He was stumbling around on the field, falling over. It didn't look good at all. And he should not have continued to play that game. And then he comes in tonight on a Thursday and plays this game. And what do you know? The same thing happens. It's honestly unbelievable. And I say all this to ask, how does this affect the Dolphins in the long run? Well, this is going to affect the Dolphins in many, many different ways. I don't know how severe Tua's injury is, but I'm assuming his injury is pretty severe. I would assume it's pretty bad. Now, obviously, luckily for the Dolphins, it's going to be another week and a half before they play again. And so he has time to heal, but they really should be fined heavily for this. And yeah, I mean, that's all I really want to say about the Tua injury. But for the Dolphins as a whole and the Bengals, I think what I took away from this game was one team could finish drives, the other one couldn't. The Dolphins couldn't even finish their drives. Even when they had Tua out there on the field, they couldn't finish their drives against the Bengals, whereas the Bengals did. And it showed up not only on the scoreboard, but toward the end of the game as well, where, again, the Bengals, they finished the game off, right? That final touchdown was the nail in the coffin. They got it. So, Dolphins 3-1, Bengals 2-2, and that leaves one undefeated team, which is the Philadelphia Eagles in the league. Obviously, I'm intrigued to see what they do against the Jaguars. But, yeah, interesting game. A lot happened. To end this video, I want to say I wish Tua the best of luck. I wish for a healthy recovery for him because that looked really bad, and I feel terrible for him because he should not have been out there. But, yeah, I wish for a healthy recovery for him and get better, man. Obviously get better. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.